Vachai Namo Namaha. Jai Tosi Maharani, Tosi Maharani, Ki Jai. We offer our most respectful obeisances unto all Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. We're just like desire trees. We can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned souls. Jai, once you call for the job, the job, the Namo Namaha. Okay. Good to see you, Connie. So, here we are. So today, several things happened today. Today is the first day of Kartik, which is called Damodar month. And generally, the devotees during this month, not generally, but always, the devotees chant the Damodarashka and offer a lamp to Lord Damodar. And that will happen when we greet the deities. And today is also the special day of Saradhya Ras, that Krishna's Rasa dance on the full moon day. And today is also the commemoration of the disappearance day of Murari Gupta. So, first we're going to chant the prayers of the departed Vaishnavas. Then we're going to talk about Krishna Saradhya Ras. Then we're going to talk about Murari Gupta. And if we have time, we'll go to Bhagavatam. So I hope that's all right for everybody, since it is a special day. So, Prabhupada instructed us on these disappearance days, we should chant the Saparshada Gaura Viraha Vilapa. It was also called, Saparshada Gaura Viraha Vilapa, which means lamentation due to separation from the Lord and his associates. And this is written by Narottam Das Thakur. So, it's on the last page of the songbook. It's really easy to find. The last, La Ultima Pagina. Very easy. Jai Anilo Prema Dana Korana Prachur Jayanila Prema Dana Korana Prachur Hey no Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Kahamora Sarupa Rupa Kahasanatan Kahadasa Raghunatha Patita Pavan Kahamora bata juga kakavirakas bata juga kakavirakas ekakale kotagela goran natarakas Pashane kutivo mata Anale Pashebo Goranga Gune Ranete Kotagele Pabo Say Sabas Sangi Rasange Jacoin Albelas Say Sangana Payakande Narotamodas Napayakande Narotamodas Je Anilo Prema Tanha Koruna Prachu Jai Anila Prematana Koruna Prachu Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Paravidakacharya also Cheta Satashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Chadana Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anandakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shiva Siddhi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopinath Shaima Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Mathuranam Ki Jai Jagadavasami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachani Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschachate Shattarni. I'll read the translation. He who brought the treasure of divine love and was filled with compassion and mercy, where is such a personality as Srinivasacharya gone? Where are my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? Where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottama Das simply weeps. So we chanted that because it's the disappearance day of Murari Gupta. Thank you. Thank you. So as I mentioned, first we're going to speak about the Krishna Sauridiya Ras, which is the Rasa Leela on this particular day. Actually, just one final thing. One of my god sisters, whose name was Saradiya, passed away on this day. Prabhupada gave her the name Saradiya, and she was very, very close to Srila Prabhupada. Very, 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 very close to Srila Prabhupada. And I knew her quite well. So this is the Rasa Leela in a nutshell. I know we went through the chapters of the Rasa Leela before in the Srimad Bhagavatam and went through them in great depth, but now I'm just going to give an overview of the different things that occurred surrounding the Rasa Leela. So basically, at 7 years old, Krishna lifted Govardhan. In the 8th year, he had his Rasa dance. And the Rasa dance, it's Rasa, not Rasa. Rasa is a dance. Rasa is the taste or mellow of a relationship. So then you had this whole pastime of the gopis praying to the goddess Katyayani, doing the Katyayani Vrat, so they would have Krishna as their husband. And of course, this is all under the influence of Yoga Maya, not Mahamaya. This is not mundane lust, even though it appears externally to be, but this is love because they're very, let's say, enthusiastic, lusty to serve the senses and please the senses of Krishna, whereas the lust in this world is the lust to please my senses, to use you as an object rather than a subject. You understand? We see other people as objects of our particular goals or our particular enjoyment. And actually, Krishna is the Purusha, and we are all Prakriti. We are all female, not necessarily our spiritual bodies are female, but we're all ontologically, by nature, female relationship to Krishna. So it's the full moon night, and this described the Sharat season, most beautiful. And what happened? Krishna, in order to call the gopis to him, played his played his flute, and the gopis dropped everything else upon hearing Krishna's flute. There's some descriptions that they left the milk on the stove, the cows not taken care of, the babies crying, their husbands, just like bewildered, and they dressed themselves in a very haphazard fashion because they're very enthusiastic to join Krishna. And their guardians tried to stop them, and those who were stopped by their guardians, husbands, etc., they actually produced a body, somehow or other, a duplicate body, so the husbands thought the wives were still with them. So there's two types of gopis who join Krishna during the Rasa dance. There is the Nitya gopis, the eternal gopis, Nitya Parshadas, and there's those who are being promoted to the status of being gopis. An example of those who are being promoted to the status of gopis, the sages at Dandakaranya forest who had seen Lord Ramchandra and had developed a conjugal attraction for Lord Ramchandra. And the Lord Ramchandra, of course, said that he only has one wife in this particular incarnation or particular manifestation. So we should also understand that Krishna's body is Satchidananda Vigraha. The gopis' bodies are Satchidananda Vigraha, not physical bodies, no sense gratification. It's described in the Bhagavatam that the husbands actually own the physical body, or thought they owned. Actually, we don't own anything. Nobody owns anything. Krishna is the owner of everything. Ishavashamidam sarvam yat gancha jagajam jagat. So that's also why it's not illicit, because actually everyone is Krishna's. And Krishna is everyone's Hati Dev. You understand? So there's no question of, but if we try to enjoy someone else, even if someone's married and they want to enjoy the other person, not considering to whom the other person belongs, Krishna, then that is illicit. That's a pretty heavy statement, because generally in the material world we have this concept of I am yours and you're mine. You belong to me, but it is not true. Actually, everybody belongs to Krishna. So they came out, and Krishna tested them. He said, why do you come here? As if Krishna didn't know. Sit down. And he said, go back. It's very dangerous here in the forest, oh thin-waisted girls. You have so many family responsibilities. You should go back home. And he said, you are chaste ladies, chaste to your husbands. I congratulate you. And he gave them some instructions on chastity. And he said, as far as relating with me, just remember me. Engage in the process of smaranam. In the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, there's this whole discussion as to what is a higher process, smaranam or kirtanam, like that, or shravanam. And this discussion, of course, ends with the point that shravanam and kirtanam actually automatically include smaranam. So anyway, he says, just remember me and go home. And the gopis did not want to take Krishna's instruction in that regard. They started crying. They started sort of like putting their feet on the ground and with their toes. And they said, you are cruel. We have taken shelter of you. You are the ultimate husband. We can't return. And at that point, Krishna embraced them, and they walked together along the Yamuna. But the gopis became very proud. Then Krishna disappeared, and they were feeling intense feelings of separation. And they began to question the trees. There's so much intense separation. They were questioning the trees and the deer, and they even started to imitate Krishna because they were so much absorbed in Krishna. And you see this sometimes with devotees when they're actually thinking very intensely of Krishna in a particular form. They imitate. They actually take that manifestation. I remember my godbrother, my godbrother Sridhar Maharaj, during the final days when he came to Mayapur, he was taking darshan of Ugra Nrsimha in Mayapur, and he actually took on the visage, the face and the features of Nrsimha as he was taking. This is intense meditation. So they began to imitate Krishna's pastimes, killing demons like Trinavarta, Bakasura, Vatsasura, even his flute playing they were imitating, lifting Govardhan Hill. And then they saw imprints of his feet. But they actually saw two sets of footprints. And of course, one set was the set of Srimati Radharani. And they began to find a little fault, but when they came and found Radha alone, they became very sympathetic, and they began to chant songs longing for Krishna. Intense songs of Vipralamba, longing for Krishna. Yugayitam nimishena chakshusha purushayitam shunyayitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me. And then Krishna came back. Well, until I start to get cold. Krishna came back, and then he was what? You can still hear me. It's loud enough, isn't it? All right, turn it off then. So anyway, so Krishna came back, and they began to walk on the Yamuna again. And Krishna sat by each gopi's side. He just manifested himself in many, many forms. And the gopis asked Krishna an interesting philosophical question or practical relationship question. They asked, which of three classes of men are best? One who only receives from their consort. Two, one who gives always. And three, one who is neutral. Krishna replied, one who gives only, always, is better. And then he described the neutral class as ungrateful. One type is ungrateful. The other type is atmarama. That means self-satisfied. But Krishna says, the reason I don't always reciprocate is to increase your love and hankering. Like absence makes the heart grow, or the love grows stronger. So he said, for example, and Krishna gives the example, this is preaching to the gopis. He says, if someone has no money, gets money, and loses it, then he thinks of it 24 hours a day. Krishna gives that example. And he said, but basically, and this famous statement, it's not possible for me to repay you, but you should be satisfied with your own exemplary behavior. And then he begins the rasa dance, in which he exhibits forms besides each gopi, and each gopi thought he was alone with her. The demigods in the airplanes started to shower flowers upon this rasa dance. The gopis sang, Krishna clapped, and eventually they became tired, and they rested their hands and arms on Krishna's shoulders and engaged in kissing and exchanging betel. And then they entered the Yamuna and had some swimming pastimes and strolled on the bank, afterwards reciting poetry. So in this particular section of the Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj says he uses the word jugupshitam. This is bad. This is a bad example. Shukadev Goswami, gives the example. He says, one should understand this is like the sun, which is able to, Krishna is the sun, to purify everything. Even if the sun comes across urine, then the sun can actually purify that. And he said, these pastimes should not be imitated. One should not imitate Krishna unless one can actually lift Govardhan Hill. And of course, we've seen after Krishna appeared, even in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's time, there were actually imitation Krishnas like this Vishikshena, who actually he said he was Vishnu, and he was having a rasa dance. As described in the Bhagavatam, the imitator will die, just like someone who is imitating Shiva by taking a ganja. They will take poison. So, and then final portion of the description here is that the description of why we hear about the rasa dance. It's to give mercy to us, Krishna's devotees or aspiring devotees. And hearing about these pastimes of the rasa dance, we get relief from material contamination, especially this sex desire. If we hear from the right person, and if we don't hear from the right person, sarpo chishta yatapayam, hari bhakti shudaya, vaishnava moko girnam putam harikatamritam shavadhanaiva kartavyam, sarpo chishta yatapayam. It will actually increase our lusty desire. Like Prabhupada said, instead of becoming purified, we'll become putrefied. So we have to hear from the right person and hear in the right way with the right mood, because Prabhupada was even criticizing those who were reading his Chaitanya Charitamrita and picking and choosing certain sections of the Chaitanya Charitamrita that dealt with the intimate loving exchanges between Radha and Krishna. They had this Gopi Baba club, and Prabhupada got very upset. So finally Krishna tells the devotees to go home, and this whole rasa dance lasted for one night of Lord Brahma. So one night of Lord Brahma is the same duration as his day, Sahasra Yuga Paryantam. 1,000 Divya Yugas it lasted for. But you know, when something is very ecstatic, blissful, time goes very quick. And when something is very miserable, that's why Yugayitam Nimishena Chakshushapavishayitam, which is the separation from Krishna, then time goes very slow. A moment is like, Prabhupada translates a moment like 12 years or more. The verse actually says, it's like a yuga. Yugayitam Nimishen. Nimishen is like 11th of a second or something like that. So you see, this experience of time is different according to whether it's pleasurable, your experience is pleasurable, or your experience is miserable. So this is the rasa dance in a nutshell of Krishna. Now, it's an interesting explanation of the whole rasa dance. Now we'll go on to Murari Gupta. So we know Murari Gupta, the associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is the incarnation of Hanuman, and he's a great devotee of Lord Ramchandra. There's a story, before we talk about his life, there's a story where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to convince him to just chant Hare Krishna and not accept Lord Ram. To accept Lord Ram, not to accept him as his main worshipable deity. He wanted him to accept Radha and Krishna. And Murari Gupta, he couldn't do it. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased, because it was a test, to see how dedicated. This is called chastity. And also we can apply this principle in relationship to our relationship with Srila Prabhupada, that we remain chaste to Srila Prabhupada, hear about Krishna from Srila Prabhupada, and then we know we're on the safe and secure path of Bhakti Yoga. So, as far as Murari Gupta's life is concerned, that he and a number of other devotees like Chandrasekhar Acharya and Srivas Pandit were born in a place called Srihata, which is in Bengal. And he was a Vaishya. Vaishya means business or doctor, like that. And so he eventually moved to Navadvip, and his family moved to Navadvip, and he lived near the house of Jagannath Mishra. He was older than Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but not as old as his father. He actually studied with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Lord Chaitanya would enjoy arguing with him and defeating him utilizing logic and grammar. And sometimes he would start an argument, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so upset with what he was presenting. We could defeat him, of course, and he got so upset with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that there were wild mudslinging fights on the bank of the Ganges. They were discussing things, and they were just throwing mud at each other. Take this. No, you're wrong. And it's described the entire place became so muddy that the ladies who were trying to collect water from the Ganges couldn't do that, and the Brahmanas could not take their baths. So, after a while, after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu excelled in the school at Gangadas Pandit, and everyone surrendered to him, Murari Gupta still did not accept defeat. And Lord Chaitanya got very upset. He criticized Lord Murari Gupta and said, "Why are you studying here? It is better for you to treat patients with creepers and herbal products. The mucus, gallbladder, and indigestion are not topics included in drama. That's from the Chaitanya Bhagavat, the Adi Leela. Murari Gupta was very agitated when he heard these words, but he didn't show his agitation or irritation, and he simply gazed at Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with a gentle look. Seeing the Lord's divine appearance, everyone became quiet. So in this way, arguments went back and forth, and Murari was never able to defeat Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But later on, they would become friends and take baths together. So one time, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned from Gaya, where he had taken initiation from Ishwara Puri, and then he began to manifest his ecstatic symptoms of love of Krishna, Murari Gupta was astonished to find the Lord weeping at the house of Shuklambara Pandit. And then, after seeing these devotional qualities, he decided to become a devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So many different pastimes occurred after this point between Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Murari Gupta. One day, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered Murari Gupta's house in the mood of the boar incarnation. And he lifted a pot of water with his teeth. Murari Gupta became so shocked, and he began actually shaking. And Lord Chaitanya said, Murari, begin chanting my glories. When Murari began singing, the Lord felt very happy, and he said, Murari, I'm telling you frankly, I'm the essence of all the Vedas. I have now appeared to preach and spread the Sankirtan movement. Another day, at the house of Srivas Thakur, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was granting boons to all the devotees. And then he said to Murari, Murari, you still do not know who I am. Now you should see my real form. Then Murari Gupta looked at Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he saw Lord Ramchandra sitting on a jeweled throne, holding a bow and arrow. Sita was on his left. Lakshman, holding also a bow and arrow, was on his right side. And in front of all of them were all the great monkey warriors who were singing and praising the Lord. Amazing pastime, isn't it? This is actually from a book that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wanted compiled, Vaishnava Manusha, which I have a copy of, which has all these intimate details of these. I think thousands of devotees it has in this particular book. But Vaishnava Manusha, Vaishnava Abhidan too is another name of it, and it's anyway. If you write me a letter, I can email it to you. So it has all devotees who I've never heard of before. So anyway, so all the monkeys and everything were singing and praising the Lord. Murari saw himself amongst that group of monkeys. He recognized himself as Hanuman. And the Lord said, get up. Have you forgotten that you are Hanuman who burnt Ravana's Lanka? Get up and see your favorite Lakshman whom you love with heart and soul. Offer your respects to Sita, for whose sufferings you wept bitterly. Murari immediately regained consciousness and fell tearfully at the lotus feet of the Lord. All the devotees began chanting. So, another story. I guess we won't get to the Bhagavatam. In the house of Srivas, Murari came forward and bowed, immediately went to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feet and bowed down to him. But he made a mistake. What was his mistake? Anyone guess? He didn't bow down to Lord Nityananda first. Lord Chaitanya said, you have made a mistake by not bowing down to Lord Nityananda. I can see that you're a neophyte. Murari asked him, how would I know? And Lord Chaitanya said, just go home. Tomorrow you'll understand everything. So he went home, and Lord Chaitanya continued his sankirtan. And Murari Gupta had a dream, and in that dream he saw Nityananda in his form as Balaram, holding a plow in his hands, and his beauty could defeat the pride of the full moon. Lord Nityananda, was walking like a drunkard, and behind him walked Vishwambara, Lord Chaitanya, looking gorgeous in his form of Krishna, and Lord Chaitanya had a blue complexion, and he was wearing a peacock feather on his head. And Murari was perplexed. Then Lord Chaitanya explained that he was younger than Lord Nityananda. Both of them disappeared. And then Murari Gupta understood this. Then he went to the house of Srivas, and then he found Lord Chaitanya sitting on a throne with Nityananda standing by his right side. He bowed first to Nityananda, then to Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya smiled and said, "What are you doing, Murari?" Murari said, "As you have told me," in a joyful mood. Lord Chaitanya offered his own chewed betel leaf to Murari, who ate it and wiped his hand on his head after he ate. So, another story. I should have a lot of stories here. One day, Murari Gupta told his wife, "I shall take my food now." So she cooked rice, brought it to her husband, who first offered it to Krishna, and then he took the prasad. On the following morning, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited their house, and he asked Murari Gupta, "Please, I have some health problem." And Murari Gupta said, "Why have you come here so early in the morning?" And Lord Chaitanya said, "I've been suffering from indigestion." And Murari Gupta said, "What did you eat?" And Lord Chaitanya said, "You know, you offered me so much rice and insisted I eat it, so how could I avoid it? Now, as a result of eating it, I have indigestion. It can be cured only by drinking lots and lots of water." So Lord Chaitanya drank water from Murari's glass, and in this way, Murari Gupta received the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Another day in the house of Srivas, Gaurachandra revealed his forearm form, we're almost finished, with all the symbols, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and Padma. And Murari became Garuda, the chief of the birds, and stretched out his big wings. And Lord Chaitanya climbed on his back and wandered around the compound of the house. This is their pastime. So, and then this is the final pastime. One day, Murari thought, who knows what Lord Chaitanya has in mind? So I want to leave this world first. So thinking this way, he decided to kill himself at night and found a sharp weapon and hid it. Lord Chaitanya could understand what was going on, and then the next day he came to Murari's house and searched out the weapon which Murari had concealed. And Lord Chaitanya took this weapon and forbade Murari from killing himself. So after taking sannyas, Lord Chaitanya went to Puri, and every year Murari Gupta, along with his wife and other devotees of Bengal, came to visit the Lord at the Rath Yatra. At that time, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's servant would serve the Lord varieties of foodstuffs brought by Murari Gupta. So all these different pastimes come from the Gauraganadesh Dipika, Chaitanya Charitamrita Chaitanya, and Chaitanya Bhagwat. So there's a compilation of these different pastimes. Should we do the Bhagavatam now? 6 minutes. Yeah. Anusha. Yeah, that was, Bhakti said he didn't do this compilation. He wanted it compiled. Vaishnava, I'll be done. Am I what? Yeah. I'll pass it on to you. This is one of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's most important projects that he wanted accomplished. The compilation of the histories of all these great Vaishnavas, the associates of Lord Chaitanya, and also those who are his disciplic descendants, like Narottama Das Thakur, Srinivasa Acharya, Shyamananda, Vishwanath Chakravarti. We have such a history, a richness of these great Vaishnavas. And when we hear about these great Vaishnavas, we're associating with these great Vaishnavas, and we can appreciate it, and increases our faith in Krishna consciousness by hearing about these personalities. So, for the question. Well, during Kartik, some devotees take special vows apart from worshiping Damodar and chanting the Damodar Ashtika prayers. Some devotees take a vow of only eating Havishna, which is like unspiced food without anything in it, and they put their hands behind their back and they eat like what's called like a duck once a day. They just go down like that, and once they come up, that's it. No more eating for that particular time. So there's special austerities. Prabhupada himself, I guess I get asked all the time about these different austerities from disciples. The other day I got a question about Bhishma Panchaka, the 5 days at the end. So I refer people back to what Prabhupada did. Prabhupada would inevitably tell us that the best austerity is Yajaya Sankirtana Prayarya Jantihi Sumedasa, preaching Krishna consciousness, helping others come to Krishna consciousness. So, of course, if you can do these austerities, it's fine. There's no objection, but they shouldn't impede with your service to the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, you can chant extra. Yes, hearing and chanting. These are austerities that are not austere. These are practices which are most important. More important than a reduction in your eating and sleeping is to increase your chanting and hearing. So that's pretty much what I've emphasized. So it is the month of Damodar, which is Krishna's special month for remembering Krishna. And many devotees, of course, go to Braj during this month, and they engage in hearing and chanting and do the Braj Mandal Parikrama. I used to go pretty much every Kartik to Braj and do Govardhan Parikrama. Not this year. So, anybody else have any information about Kartik? Yes. No, it was not an instruction to avoid allopathic medicine. Prabhupada used whatever was necessary, whether it was allopathic or Ayurvedic or herbs or whatever. It was a chastisement of don't think you're intelligent and don't study. You're just like a doctor. Just deal with herbs and potions. It had nothing to do with an instruction for us. People take these things out of context. Yeah, they didn't have allopathic medicine. But in any case, it's not an instruction. It is basically, Murari, mind your own business. You're a doctor. Don't think you can defeat me philosophically. In other words, Lord Chaitanya was saying, you're foolish. You don't understand rhetoric or grammar. Okay. Yeah, we got to be careful about taking these things out of context. Lord Chaitanya gives an instruction to Murari Gupta to chastise him, and then we lead our whole life by that instruction and don't go to the doctor. Okay, so then we get a chance to chat.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvanda Maravinda Nalaya Taksham Marhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Bhagom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Asa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Pasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
Yasoda Veyo Lukalat Abhamanya Param Vishtam Pajantato Drujya Rudantamunetra Yumam Prishantagam Karambochajuk Mena Satanganetram Musacha Kampatre Rekankakanta Stita Grivam Damodaram Bhakti Bhagam Iti drikswa lila beer ananda kunde swakosham dimajantam akyapayantam. Yadi Sita Gesu Maktadi Tagatwakum Punat Prema Tostam Shata Vritivande. Varam Deva Moksham Da Mokshavatim Vaga Nachanyam Vride Ham Vareshadapiha. Several people can offer at one time. Idam teva purnata gopala pala satame manasya vi rastam gimanjay. Idam temukam bojam hachanjanilai ritam kuntalai snigda raktai shagopya. Muschumbitam bimba raktadame manhasha virastam alam lakshalabai. Namo Deva Damodar Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabhu Duga Jalabdi Magnam. Ripatriste Ristate Dinamatatu Grahaneshamam Agyame Yakshidrisha. Grahaneshamam Agyame Yakshidrisha. Kuverat Majobada Muchaiva Yadvarat Twaya Mochi Tau Bhakti Bajau Grito Chao. Jata prema bhakti swakame priyakcha namokshe grahome si damodareha. Namaste Sutamne Smuratipji Tamne Swati Udarayata Vishwasha Jamne. Namo Ratikaya Twa Diyapriyaya Namo Nantadilaya Devaya Tuvyam. Namam Vishwaram Satchit Anandarupam Lasat Kundanam Gokule Prajamanam. Yosodameo Luka Lanavamanam Param Vishnam Achyanta Tudruja Gopya. Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radha. Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radha. Jaya Radha Golokanana Radha Golokanana Radha. Jaya Radha Golokanana Radha Golokanana Radha. Nayarat, hey, Radhe, Jaya, Radhe, Jaya, Radhe, Jaya, Radhe, Jaya, Radhe, Jaya, Radhe, Radhe, Jaya, Radhe. Jaya Ragate, Jaya Ragate, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Sri Ragate. Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa Paravidikacharya, also tell us it's Shimad, it's divine grace Abhaya. Chalanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha. Shivasani Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath. Shaima Kunda Radhakunda Giti Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavanam ki jai, Mathuram ki jai, Jagadavasami ki jai, Yamunamai ki jai, Srimad Galasi Devi ki jai, Samveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees, 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 all glory is the assembled devotees. Let's read the translation together. To the Supreme Controller, who possesses an eternal form of blissful knowledge, whose glistening evenings swing to and fro, who manifested himself in Gokula, who stole the butter that the gopis kept hanging from the rafters of their storerooms, and who quickly jumped up and ran and retrieved Mother Yashoda, who was ultimately caught. To that Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances. Upon seeing his mother's whipping stick, he cried and rubbed his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes were fearful and his breathing quick, and his mother Yashoda bound his belly with ropes. He shivered in fright, and his pearl necklace shook. To this Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, who was bound by his devotees' love, I offer my humble obeisances. Those super excellent pastimes of Lord Krishna's babyhood drown the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy. To the devotees who were attracted only to his majestic aspect of Narayana and Vaikuntha, the Lord herein reveals, I am conquered and overwhelmed by pure loving devotion. To the Supreme Lord Damodar, my obeisances hundreds and hundreds of times. O Lord, although you were able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for liberation, nor eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon. My only prayer is that your childhood pastimes may constantly appear in my mind. O Lord, I do not even want to know your feature of Paramatma. I simply wish that your childhood pastimes may ever be enacted in my heart. O Lord, the cheeks of your blackest lotus face, which is encircled by locks of curling hair, have become red like bimba fruit due to Mother Yashoda's kisses. What more can I describe than this? Millions of opulences are of no use to me, but may this vision constantly remain in my mind. O unlimited Vishnu, O Master, O Lord, be pleased upon me. I'm drowning in an ocean of sorrow, and I'm almost like a dead man. Please shower the rain of mercy upon me, uplift me and protect me with your nectarian vision. O Lord Damodar, in your form as a baby, Mother Yashoda bound you to a grinding stone with a rope for tying cows. You then freed the sons of Kuvera, Manigriva, and Nala Kuvara, who were cursed to stand as trees, and you gave them the chance to become your devotees. Please bless me in the same way. I have no desire for liberation into your effulgence. O Lord, the entire universe was created by Lord Brahma,